Fantastic. Well, thanks again. My name is Scott Janssen. I'm the material handling product manager for the Rhino tool house. You may remember me from instant classics such as the G-Force demonstration and the Smart Arm demonstration. We're talking about GD Hoist. GD Hoist is a brand of hoist that's manufactured right here in New Berlin, Wisconsin. This hoist is great. It's battle tested. We talk about it. It's on all of our shirts here. Battle tested, and the reason we say that is because it is. These hoists are used in a lot of military applications, especially on Navy ships for lifting all sorts of product, even their warheads, because it is a intrinsically safe product due to the fact that it's pneumatically driven and explosion proof. Lastly, just wanted to go, this is part of our level 10 group. GD Hoist is, our level 10 is GD Hoist FXD product lines, and level 10 is our manufacturing branch of our division. All level 10 products from GD Hoist to FXD heads can be purchased at any one of our locations across America. From here, I'm going to turn it over to the manager of the GD Hoist product, Matt Sparks. Take it away, Matt.
Cool. Thanks, Scott. Like Scott said, I'm Matt Sparks.
Oh, yeah. So one last thing. Quickly, if you do have questions, please enter into the chat at the bottom of the screen, and we'll address those at the end of the program.
Cool. Again, I'm Matt Sparks. I'm the general manager here at Level 10. Today, we're going to tell you a little bit about GD Hoist. We actually have two product lines. One is a rotary vane hoist, and one is a piston hoist. Everyone has a rotary vane hoist. That's how all air hoists on the market are. We're the only one with axial piston hoist, so we're going to spend our time talking about that today. Why would you choose the piston hoist? That's probably the first question you're asking yourself. One of the big things is cost of ownership. They last forever, and we're going to demo it later and show you, but pistons just hold up a lot longer than the vanes do. They also require a lot less maintenance. So we still get hoisted into repair from the 60s, and people take them down to do preventive maintenance on them only every couple of years. Another reason why is they hold up really well in tough environments. So places like Foundry, where the air is dirty and there's a lot of sand, the hoist lasts. And a good example of that is we had a customer right near here. They were replacing a competitive hoist every couple of weeks. And ours has been up there for a couple of years. I haven't heard anything. I've been there and seen it running since. So they last in those kind of environments. They also hold up in sea air, which is, like Scott said, the Navy uses them for that. The last thing that's really great about them is their featherability. And we're going to demo that too. But with a rotary vane, you got to get the vane spinning before you get any power behind them. With the pistons, as soon as we get the pistons moving a little bit, the sprocket is moving. So right away, as you press the button, you're getting chain movement. And we can slow and speed that up and slow it down with our new hoist. We're actually controlling that flow from the pendant, and we're going to demo that too. Before we get into that, I also want to talk about the tractors.
Sure.
The tractors run on that same piston motor, and because of that, they're the best tractor on the market. They also have their own brake on them. It's actually a drum brake. It's not like a worm gear, so when you're not pressing the button, it's not moving, it's stopped. In the last couple of years, we've redesigned it so it can run on pretty much any kind of rail. So if you have rail in your facility, you can use it. There's options for it. Like if you wanted a piston to engage and disengage from the rail, you could do that. So for instance, someone could lower it and drag it along when it's not like tugging a load. These come in combo units. This actually isn't a combo unit. It's just a tractor pulling the hoist. They have other ones that we sell a lot more often to things like ships at sea. So it's in a tight little package, and you can pick up whatever your product is and move it and drop it off. And you can do it all then on one pendant instead of two. People also use the tractors a lot in automation. We have a lot of customers that use them entirely driven by PLCs. So the sky's kind of the limit. If you can imagine it, we probably have people that are using the tractor for something like that. Now,
you want to do the quick demonstration here?
Yep.
Can you zoom in on here for us, Steve? I'll do the, why don't you do the talking and I'll do the spinning.
Okay, so if you guys can see this right now, and we'll give the camera crew a second here to get in. The pistons move right here, and it transforms that rotational motion from the piston to pick up and down the load. And you can see there, like, as soon as that piston's moving, then we get action on the chain. An easier way to visualize that might be, we have some bigger pistons. And I can show you that.
Zoom out.
So you can see here, this is the P3, this is the bigger unit, but this is the pistons, and it's gonna take a lot more to like dirty up and grime up a piston. It's kind of like self-cleaning in the fact that it goes in and out, and as soon as we get a movement in our stroke, we start seeing action on the chain. We'll demonstrate that in just a minute. I just want to take a brief second to go over, this is how a rotary vane motor works. The vanes sit inside the rotor, and as they're spun around, they get pushed out. So for a lot of reasons, this is going to wear out faster. One, vanes are made of technology like phenolics or plastics, depending on the manufacturer, but all of them are going to wear more and require more preventive maintenance. The other problem is when you're in dirty air and dirty environments, you're going to get dirt and grime and rust if it's a spring or an O-ring. Either way, they get gummed up underneath the vanes. And that means, like, depending on how often you use it, anywhere from like a month to every couple months, you're going to have to take them down and clean them out. So that's just one advantage of the piston, is it doesn't work like that.
So a good example of that is a local casting company was using a competitor's hoist, and they were repairing it every 2 weeks is what they told us. And they had multiple hoists that they had to repair. It was causing them a lot of downtime, a lot of time with the repair parts, you name it. We gave them a hoist to demo, and it lasted. It's still lasting to this day, actually. We haven't taken it down for repair yet, and this was well over a year ago. So especially in tough environments, this hoist is the top choice for you.
Cool. Right. And now that we're going to demo it, historically, you've been able to buy a P1 for a long time, and what we're doing now is not like a major change, but we took that same technology that they're using to lift munitions so you can set them down gently. And we took that and we programmed into our P1 because we had a lot of customers with applications where they needed that kind of feathering capability. And this has been available now for about a year, and we're just really starting to tell everyone about it. So we're going to demo it and show it how it works. And we're going to start with.
So we're going to show the featherability by showing how easily we can stop the hoist between these two marks here. There's an 1.5 inch difference here, but the featherability is uncanny. Again, with the ability that we get chain action as soon as you hit the button. And secondly, it doesn't need to spool down where it may advance beyond the point where you want to get to. So Matt's going to start with either, I'll try to get this flange right here to stop in here on multiple occasions here.
And you can see here, I can speed it up and slow it down. So easily dropped it in from below, and we can go above and do the same thing. So it gives you a lot of control. That same technology we also put into the tractor.
So you can see the tractor wheel. You can, as a, I can go very slow, or I can go speed it up as I go.
And those tractors come preset at 40 feet per minute, 120, and 240 feet per minute.
Very good. So we're going to, with that demonstration done, we're going to open it up here for questions. Steve and Ryan, if you could help me out.
What capabilities are on?
What capacity?
What capacities
So the question is, what capacities are offered? Matt, I'll let you take that one.
In the piston hoist, we go from 300 pounds up to 8,000 pounds. And in the rotary vane hoist, we go from 300 pounds up to 8,800 pounds. So quite a range.
Do you offer other chain types?
Do you offer other chain types?
Yeah, depending on your application, we have regular chain, stainless steel chain that's often used in spark resistant or corrosion applications. And then we also have zinc chain for corrosion applications. And those are all regular chain. We also have customers who use, I'm spacing on the name of the chain, like bike chain.
Oh, roller chain.
Roller chain. And if you have an application like that, let us know.
What incoming air PSI and or CFM is required?
What incoming pneumatic PSI or CFM is required?
On the piston hoist, that's actually a great question. All of our hoists, the recommended PSI is 90 PSI. For CFM, that's going to greatly differ. Rotary vane tends to use a lot more. So I think our rotary vane is like 65, 70 CFM recommended, where the piston hoist is going to start at 30 for this in the tractor. And as it goes up, we have a P1 that's 30. And then I think the P2 is like 45 and the P3 is 60. But the piston hoist in general use less CFM.
Please advise on the air filtration, air regulation, and air lubrication required.
Please advise on the air filtration, lubrication, and what was the last one?
Air regulation.
And air regulation requirements.
So we always recommend that you use a filter, regulator, or lubricator. And that's something that we also sell. So it's something we normally put on every quote when we're selling a hoist too is, hey, do you need an FRL? But you should be doing something. You're gonna have a lot longer lasting unit if you lubricate it. The piston hoists themselves do better than rotary vane hoists do when they're under lubricated, but you're obviously gonna get a much longer lasting product when it is.
To what do you attribute the durability advantage over other branded similar hoists, rotary vane?
To what do you attribute the advantage of the piston hoist over rotary vane hoists?
It's the pistons themselves. So pistons are hardened and ground within a 4/10 tolerance. They're the same kind of tolerance as you'd find in a car motor engine. And that's the same here. So essentially, if you might get some dirt and grime in here, it's not going to chew through the parts. We're probably also the only hoist manufacturer that has hardened and ground bushings in the pendants themselves. So what's in here is at least a 60 Rockwell. It's harder than sand. So it'll crush sand as opposed to having it get chewed up. So part of it is just steel on steel, hardened steel. It's going to last a lot longer than phenolics, which Scott's holding, or plastics. If you get dirt and grime in there, it's going to eat away at it. So a lot of it's just in the technology itself that it uses pistons.
How often do you recommend the filters be changed, and how often do you recommend the hoist be lubricated?
How often do you recommend the filters be changed, and how often should we lubricate the hoist?
That's always a tough question to answer. It has to do with how often you're using it. If you have any specific questions, please contact me after this and we can figure it out for your application.
What is the advantage of air hoists over electric chain hoists?
What is the advantage of air hoists over electric chain hoists? So I can take this one. So the advantage of an air hoist, certainly in tough environments, they just last longer. Electric motors don't do as well with dirt and debris. Explosion-proof environments, again, the same thing with, we talked about this earlier on Navy ships. Anytime you have an explosion-proof environment, pneumatic-powered devices are intrinsically safe and can be used in any of those. But it's really and then lastly would be the overall height. So the clearance headroom that we talk about, generally speaking, pneumatic hoist is going to be much less headroom requirement than electric hoist. And that's because pneumatic power power to weight ratio is better than a electric power to weight ratio. So you can put a hoist into a smaller package. The other thing you'll definitely notice is that a lot of electric hoists, you'll see that, they'll have the main casting that's doing the load bearing is the cast aluminum. On all of our hoists, everything is cast or steel, made out of steel. So you see that life just lasts longer, where a lot of other parts are plastics and things of that nature.
Would you guys mind talking about a few use cases or applications with automation PLC programming?
Okay, I have a customer.
Would we mind talking about a few use case applications with automation and PLC?
I've seen a couple applications in different automotive customers where they have a conveyor that runs across the floor. And at some point, they're picking it up because they need to get stuff underneath it. So they have an entire apparatus that picks up, let's say, like a chassis. And they have the tractor just pulling it along at the same speed as their conveyor. And it's timed that way. And then they're doing whatever operation they need to in assembly while that's going on. And then that allows them to lower it back down on the conveyor where it was before, in the exact same place, more or less, from where they picked it up from. So it's just a way that they use to keep it moving. I think that's the best application I can think of off the top of my head.
I went to another question here that I see on the board is, can these be used in saltwater applications?
And yeah, we have a lot of customers do that. We're not saying it's rust proof because nothing that goes in seawater is, but we're actually going through a project with a customer right now. If you have questions, let me know. We're replacing all the external parts with stainless steel, corrosion resistant stainless steel to make that life even longer. But I know right now that outside the Navy, we have several customers that are using this, and ships that even go up into the Arctic Ocean to do things like fishing and crabbing. And it's because they last long in those environments.
How customizable are your hoists to fit different applications?
How customizable is your hoist to fit different applications?
Our product line through the years has always been one where we've said yes a lot more than no. So we have lots of different kinds of chain, we have lug mounts, trolley mounts, hook mounts. We have safety latches, we have bollard latches, different ways to hook onto the whatever you're lifting. So it's very customizable. Another is the roller chains, another application. So if you have something unique, let us know, and there's a good chance maybe we can help you out.
Can you hook the tractor unit up to another pneumatic chain hoist already installed in our factories? Also, do you have different size tractors?
Can you hook the pneumatic tractor up to a other branded chain hoist that's already existing in the factory? And do we have other size tractors?
Absolutely. Any kind of hoist that has a trolley you can pull along. And I think we can put our tractors on any kind of rail now. As far as different size tractors, it's kind of a one size fits all. I think it can tow upwards of 10,000 pounds. So the trick is just figuring out, can we get it on your rail? And in most cases, the answer is going to be yes. And there's different speeds. There's
40, 80, and 120 feet per minute options.
Yeah, and 240.
And 240, sorry.
So there's one that's you have to almost run behind.
When would you use a roller chain versus a link chain?
When would you use a roller chain versus a link chain?
You know, I've only seen a couple of these applications in person. I think the thing with roller chain is it doesn't move kind of like a link chain will. So it's when you don't want so much flexing and it's more of just a straight up and down and not so much kind of churning. And we also have people using roller chain in our hoist, like air motors. There's a nuclear lab who's a customer, and I think they use it to open and close their blast doors. That's the best example I can think of. And they have a PLC then that controls the hoist.
Okay. Well, that's it for questions. So appreciate everybody's time today. Again, this is a great product that you can find, again, right here at Rhino Toolhouse. This is one of the ones that we actually manufacture as part of our Level 10 Industries. This is the, I'm sad to say, the final day of here in New Berlin. We're going to send you down to sunnier shores in Concord, North Carolina. Actually, I'm sorry. Tomorrow is going to be Crane OMS from Illinois, and then it'll be in Concord after that. So you're going to see some new faces, like Chip had said, and you're going to see some great new products that can all be found right here at Rhino Tool House. Appreciate your time, and have yourself a wonderful Monday.
Thanks, guys.